that came in if you want to sign up.
Okay, yeah.
If you want to speak, please sign up. We will be calling up people 5 at a time, just to line up at the podium and then rotating and allowing 5 people to speak via Zoom. So we'll go 5 in-house and 5 via Zoom and so on and so forth. For those joining us via Zoom, please change your display name if possible to reflect your name rather than a phone number. Thank you. If you would like to speak, please raise your hand now. We will call your name and give you permission to unmute when it is your opportunity to speak. This is for the Zoom. If your hand is not raised, you will not be called upon. Every member of the public will be able to speak for 3 minutes. There's a clock here that'll be counting down. Please be respectful of everyone's time and limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes, which of course, as you know, so it's a pretty good stretch of time to talk. So during this time, the council will be actively listening. We will not be asking follow-up questions or responding to any public comments this evening.
Like a shout. Sorry.
Nope. Well, I'll touch on that again real quick. During this time, the council will be actively listening. We will not be asking follow-up questions or responding to the public comments this evening. We're here to listen to the comments. When you come to the podium, please speak. When you come to the podium or speak online, please state your name for the record and the city that you reside in. The city limits are roughly east of Mundy Loss, north of LaPierre to the White River, and east of Levesque, or at least east to Levesque. If you are within that range, you live in the city limits, please do not provide your address, your full address, just the city. And whether you live in the town limits or outside of that. If you don't know, we have a lot of confusion throughout the community outside of the town limits. If you have a Buckley address, doesn't mean you vote inside the city limits, so on and so forth. So we just want to know where everybody's sitting at for comments. Staff and council may take notes and record any themes to include a staff report prior to the next town hall scheduled for May 28th, which is 2 weeks from tonight. Did I say May? March. Sorry, March 28th. We anticipated this would be a popular topic. If for whatever reason you choose not to speak tonight, you are welcome to join us again on the 28th or submit written comments. We will be hosting a second town hall in the exact same format prior to making any decisions. Written comments are provided to the council. Council is expected to read each comment and give it as much weight as comments received verbally. Again, council will not be engaging in conversation regarding this topic tonight, but we are happy you could all join us and look forward to hearing from you. So with that, we will start with the first group of 5. You want me to start at the top here?
Just go ahead.
Okay.
Call them out.
Yeah, I'll just read the top 5 names that marked yes to speak tonight. Gus Sanderson, Denise Bergerson, Steve Bergerson. Oh, Denise, sorry, you marked no. I'll skip over. Steve Bergerson, Edward Hector, Kathy Dahlquist, and is it Golden? And I'm not gonna, okay, you'll be number 5, Gordon, sorry. Perfect. Okay.
Okay, good evening. Name's Gus Sanderson. I live at Shea Estates in the city of Buckley. I'm reading this letter from my wife who was unable to make it today. She severely broke her leg here about 46 days ago. To the mayor and city members, city council members, I feel like I need to speak out and remind the council of your responsibility as a citizens of Buckley to maintain the financial viability and rest assured that we will be holding you responsible. Maybe everyone needs to be reminded of what that means. Financial viability refers to the organization's ability to generate significant income to meet operating payments, debts, and commitments, and where applicable, allow growth while maintaining service levels. Just recently, Sandy stated that the city council would be $400,000 to $500,000 over budget by the end of 24. Now with that over budget of $400,000 to $500,000, do you really believe maintaining a community's viability? Your consideration of a pickleball court is unimaginable when this community's financial picture is so bleak. Simply asked, are you trying to ruin our community? Yes, I understand that the pickleball club has raised the money for the structure, but we all know that is just a small fraction of what the overall long-term expenses will be. The suggested $65,000 a year is simply laughable. You could take that $65,000 a year and complete the sidewalk from Perkins Prairie to Collins Road, making a safe 5-mile walking round trip to downtown and back. Many of us have had close calls walking on the roads. Then there's a second matter of city planning. Did you forget that Shea Estates is a residential area that you allowed to be built? Yes, there is a small field between us and the rest of this of Buckley, but we are part of the residential area. Who has the right? Who in their right minds would put a commercial building and a huge parking lot in the center of a residential community? Over 20 years ago, 14 families bought homes at Shea Estates, each and every one of us, because there's a peace and quiet. Lots of elk and deer to watch while having coffee in the morning, listen to the elk bugle in the evenings. Now, most of the animals have left because it's been allowed that Mars Farms installed elk fencing, disturbing the natural habitat. Guess my time's up.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
And yeah, we're not in favor.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Steve.
Good evening. Here I am again, Steve Bergerson, Buckley resident, live in the infamous Shea Estates, which is basically right now next door where one of these spots to build this is going to be. So anyway, I really want to start out by thanking the council for listening and doing this and the transparency, because the last time something happened like this that wanted to be put in out there, I think you all were blindsided. Some of you weren't on the council then, but I do thank you for that. So I appreciate y'all. I'm sorry if, you know, it sounds like I'm griping or whatever, but I apologize in advance. So here goes. On February 28th, the council meeting, it was brought to our attention that Buckley will have a budget deficit for 2024 of plus or minus $500,000. There's also talk of a possible tax levy lid lift to fund projects into the future, as well as using ARPA funds. So as a senior citizen on a fixed income, which, man, that sounds weird to say. I know I do not favor having my taxes raised because, you know, I don't make much money now. So especially on something that would take gobs of money to maintain and staff, as well as the possibility of having to build roads, put in stormwater management, sidewalks, infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe it's a free building, but you all know if you win the lotto, you got to pay. It's not free. You got to pay part of it. So if we get a free building, we're going to have to pay. So having our taxes raised to pay for that, it's not my idea anyway. So I for one would like my city to just pump the brakes a bit, get things sorted out with current projects already started, as well as new parks like Miller Park. I mean, we're only a year or so past all the stuff that got stirred up when Paul Weed was in power here, and we're finally kind of getting out of that. And here we go again, trying to pound a square peg into a round hole. I mean, we were kind of made assurances that this kind of stuff wouldn't happen. And I can't believe that we've made it this far, even talking about this after some of the things that happened over a year and a half ago. So, I mean, like I said, I'm glad you're more transparent and so forth, but, yeah, I just don't think DSHS property is a spot for it because the state owns it, the city doesn't own it. And, there's a couple other places that are kind of being talked about, but it's pretty obvious from what I gather from reading the literature and going to the meetings that they want it down there in the lot that's painted red on the handout we got, which is 253 feet from the house. So that being said, oh, time to go. Well, I'll be back in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
I got lots more.
Edward, yep, there you go.
Hi, my name is Edward Hector. Live outside the city of Buckley, lived for 30-some years on the plateau in Enumclaw, currently in Kirkland, Washington. I am the recently retired Chief Executive Officer of the world's largest pickleball company, Pickleball Inc., company that actually brought the sport commercially to the marketplace. And when I got involved in pickleball 9 years ago, there was approximately 1 million people playing pickleball around the United States. The most recent report released by the Sports Fitness Industry Association now shows that there are 8.9 million people playing pickleball. More people play pickleball than play football, American football in the United States.
Could you hang on, just 1 second. Marvin, can you hear all right?
Stay at the
A
microphone.
little bit closer there.
Yeah.
Don't
Thank you very much.
Thank
swing it
you.
around.
Sorry,
All right.
sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
In my role as Chief Executive Officer of Pickleball Inc. and Pickleball Central, I work closely with a number of municipalities, clubs, and organizations working on planning for facilities like the one that you're contemplating here. I provided some information in a PowerPoint deck that I sent over to you guys earlier with a little bit of my background and some of the information out of some of the projects I've been involved with. Pickleball facilities have been economic magnets to those municipalities and commercial entities that have embraced it. There's an economic density is what I refer to it as. You can put almost 10 times as many people playing pickleball in a small space than you can tennis or basketball or football or soccer or golf. It is incredibly localized, and that concentrates the economics. You need very little space to meet the needs of an awful lot of players. But it also means that with a small amount of space, you can attract an awful lot of players to your venue and facility. The city of Brigham City, Utah, for instance, started a pilot project with initially 8 courts, then 16, then it grew to 27. The economic impact of their courts and their facilities is moving over $1.2 million every year into their local economy, with a very large portion of that driving directly into city revenues through tournament operations, clubs, court rentals, and a variety of programs. The tournaments, one of the most important things to understand about pickleball is that it is a tourism business. People travel to play pickleball, and this will attract people from around the region to come to Buckley. And as you drive into Buckley, there are any number of small businesses that will benefit from that traffic. I know personally when I play 3-4 hours on the court, the first thing I'm looking for when I leave is a really nice meal, and Main Street is going to benefit from that. I'm happy to answer any questions separately outside of this context from the board to be able to show how the economics of this really drive back into the community, both direct to the Parks and Recs program and indirectly through tax revenues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Kathy.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. I'm here in support of the pickleball facility. My name is Kathy Dahlquist. I'm a member of the Enumclaw Pickleball Group, and as most of you know, I was instrumental in bringing this plan forward. I have the privilege of securing funding for 3 other park projects. One of them a facility most of you have probably visited at Pete's pool, the field there. I did all the rehab and secured the funding for that. 2 playgrounds also at 2 different elementary schools, all via grant writing, none through direct taxpayer dollars, all gifted to the city and Enumclaw School District. All of those have been made possible through a public-private nonprofit type relationships. And I'm excited about the possibility of donating this facility to the city and the residents of Buckley. Our goal is to be good stewards to this community. We have visited neighbors and downtown businesses to share information about the project and to answer questions. We asked businesses on Main Street if they would support a covered pickleball complex in Buckley, and the following businesses have all signed a petition in support: Anchor House Coffee, Vanity, Press Body Works, Salon 790, Wayne Gun State Farm, The Queen's Ransom, Firehouse Pub, Mom's Tacos, Alpine Sports Chiropractic, PGA Excavating, Bark of the Town, Front Porch Quilts, Styles on Main, The Scoop on Main, and Main Street Bistro. 2 businesses asked that it not be located on Highway 410, and 1 wanted the city to prove they can afford the facility. The petition was sent to the city today, and hopefully you've all received a copy. We were lucky enough to get Edward Hector, who just spoke, as he works his pickleball magic around the country. It's truly a gift to have him here to talk about the economics. And maybe we'll have time and somebody could cede their time to Edward, because he has a lot more to share if you're interested. I appreciate his thorough and expert analysis of the facility and making the effort to drive here tonight from Kirkland. Some have asked us, why not Enumclaw? And I just want to clear the air, because the message from the city officials that we received was clear that they were focused on pursuing building a community center that would house their Chamber of Commerce, their Arts Alive, and a senior center, as well as a gym. This proposal will go out to the voters in 2024 to try to pass a $20 million construction bond. Considering the donations that I've already raised to date, about $426 million, we want to move forward, and the timing was right to bring this project to Buckley. Being good stewards means that we want to ensure the successful completion of the facility and be good long-term neighbors. Which location is chosen by the council, our commitment is to work together to address concerns and find solutions so that we can all benefit from the facility. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you. Gordon.
Hello, my name is Gordon Hosmer. I'm 79 years old. I play pickleball every day. I come from Bonnie Lake Trilogy there in Tahali. I am the pickleball club president. I have over 330 members in our club who are always looking for a place to play, especially when it's raining, pouring outside. We would love to play indoors. It would be an absolute privilege if we had covered courts here in the region to support our members, and also to support everybody who eventually is going to be playing the sport. It is a godsend for me personally and for my family members. If you haven't played pickleball, you're missing out, because it is a great sport. I've played sports all my life. I'm getting up there to where I'm pretty limited, no contact sports anymore, unfortunately. But pickleball has really, really been a godsend to me personally. And all 330 plus members of our club support this endeavor. Remember, if you build it, they will come. And believe me, they will come.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna try the Zoom thing.
I see one individual has raised their hand for Zoom, Julie Goetz.
Am I ready?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Julie Getz. I'm with the Ryan Estates Homeowner Association, we live over in Ryan Estates, obviously Ryan Road. So we're right behind the Miller Park location, the proposal for that. So we've been very vocal as a neighborhood in the past regarding the potential to add the park to the field next to our neighborhood. It's been vacant for 30-something years. We're addressing the proposal to add the pickleball court specifically to the Miller Park land. We vehemently requested the city not make Beverly a through street connecting with Jefferson to the north side of the Miller Park field space. To Wright Canyon Lee, these new through streets are causing a lot of traffic and safety hazards. For example, through Perkins Prairie neighborhood, the Spruce Street through street has become a way for everybody to get across town, obviously. And we've seen a drastic increase in traffic as we walk through there. People are driving erratically, speeding, neglecting to stop at the stop signs, etc. Our fear is that's going to happen to our neighborhood. It's very quiet. We have a double cul-de-sac in this neighborhood. We have dozens of children that are outside playing. When we spoke last year regarding the Miller Park location, we had specifically asked if they were going to add speed bumps, stop signs, extra patrol. We asked city employees to come speak to our neighborhood. We have major safety concerns for all the extra traffic. So at this point, our whole point is we are not sure what the city's willing to do, because last year the city said there's absolutely no budget to improve the streets or add stop signs and speed bumps. So if there was going to be 50 cars, let's say, coming through our neighborhood, we obviously have a lot of kids in here. People don't pay attention anyways. And we're worried about the influx of traffic. We're also worried about the influx of crime that comes with those kind of facilities. Is the city going to add extra patrol? What are we going to do to stop vandals? Are there going to be car prowls? I mean, with anything when we build, we live in a very quiet area off Ryan Road. It's tucked away. So our whole concern is now we're off the beaten path. Is there going to be extra patrol? What's the city going to do? What kind of budget does the city have to ensure that the park is going to be safe? We think a neighborhood park is a better option because that was going to be what Miller Park was going to be. Well, the city has said in that letter they sent out that you're going to change the Miller Park plans if pickleball comes in. What does that look like? Nobody's been communicative. Is the park going away completely? Is that going to be Is there still going to be toys at the park? Is there going to be a walking trail? One of the other issues that we have is that is wetlands out there. How is that going to work if there's going to be a facility built? Where's all that water going to go? That's something that needs to be addressed. We have water out there 75% of the year in that field. And it's not just shallow water, it gets deep. It can get knee deep all the time. So that's another issue we'd like the city to consider and be communicative about. And that's what I have to say. I just want to let you know, we're not against pickleball. We just don't want it in the Miller Park location because of our little neighborhood.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, those are all the hands that are raised on Zoom.
Okay. Did we have 5 in line and just just the one?
Just the one.
Just the one on Zoom?
Yep.
Okay.
So far.
Okay. All right, we'll go on down the line, and if we see somebody raise their hands via Zoom, we'll try and get you in there. Let's see. Dana Gates. I'll go down the list real quick. Dana, Holly, maybe? Ruben, last name Ruben, looks like 2, and Scott both. Okay, and it's 1, 2, 3. Kerfurst, Sheriff Kerfurst, and boy. First name starts with a K, last name starts with an M. Okay, Karen, maybe?
Karen.
Okay, that'll be number 5. Sorry, I have a hard time reading it.
No worries. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. My name is Dana Gates. I do live in Enumclaw. I'm actually the one that started Enumclaw Pickleball Club almost 4 years ago, basically so I could play and be sure there would be at least 4 players. It's quickly grown, and I thought it would be a great way to connect community members. Now our Facebook group has over 300 members, and we draw a decent crowd of all levels of players from Buckley, Enumclaw, Auburn, Kent, Maple Valley, Bonnie Lake, Covington, Sumner, and beyond. In hindsight, I probably should have named it Plateau Pickleball. Currently, we are limited in the number of courts available and the times they're available to use. An indoor 12-court facility would allow many more to enjoy pickleball, especially during the evening hours after work. I'm excited to partner with the city of Buckley and bring this gift of an indoor 12-court pickleball facility for the ability to earn extra revenue for the city, allow residents of all ages and abilities a place for recreation, and the economic impact that this will bring to the Buckley businesses. All of the above, I believe, are the goals of the city. I was raised in Buckley. I graduated from White River High School. My dad is Earl Hill, who is a former mayor and council member. What a legacy it would be to honor a former mayor who is also in the Pickleball Hall of Fame. It is a thing. He just turned 85 and he couldn't be here in person, but I see him on Zoom. But he wanted to put in his comments about the pickleball project. So I'm going to read his letter. Dear Mayor and City Council, as a former city official and 30+ year resident, I heartily endorse and support the city's efforts to construct an indoor facility that would incorporate pickleball courts and have other recreational and civic uses as well. The game of pickleball is a healthy and invigorating sport that has great recreational appeal to persons of all ages. I can personally attest to this game's healthy aspects as I continue to play competitively at the age of 85, after first starting to play nearly 40 years ago. Along the way, I was a charter board member of our national organization, USA Pickleball, when it was formed in 2005. After my 13-year tenure at the national level, I was honored to be inducted into the Pickleball Hall of Fame in 2018, the second year of its existence. We congratulate the city on your endeavor to bring this project to fruition so that local residents can more fully enjoy the benefits of the game of pickleball. With sincere best wishes, Earl Hill, former council member, former mayor, former city administrator, and he was also on the chair of the Board of Adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do I go after that?
That's tough.
I'm just a community member. We live in Enumclaw. My name is Holly Rubin and I play pickleball. I'm a pickleball addict. So we, as she told you, we started playing a few years ago. And if you play the game, you will try to get every person around you to play. And that's my job really, is to get other people to play because you can't play by yourself. I have kids age from college through high school, and when they come back, they like to play too. We have been trying to get my nephews to play. They're 5 and 7. I'll try that. But anyway, anybody of all ages and any time around can play and is able to play. And it's not it's very, very cost effective to play for a young family to do that. So anytime that you're around, call us. We would love to play with you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Scott Rubin, live in Enumclaw for 40 years, and I just fully support this project. Started playing with the Enumclaw pickleball group 3 years ago and play 3-4 times a week. So it's a great sport and all age groups. Gordon beats me all the time. So, but with that, I want to yield my time to Steve Bannerow, if that's okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Mayor and honorable city council members. I'm a personal trainer and group fitness instructor. I've been in Enumclaw since '96, taught senior classes, I think right over there, and speak to the city of Enumclaw. And I've been involved with Buckley in the fitness realm. And I'm always looking for ways. People ask me, what's the best workout for me? And as a personal trainer, I'll say the one that you'll do. And they'll say, well, what should I be eating? Say, whatever diet you can sustain and lose weight, feel healthy, improve your numbers at the doctor. I work with young children all the way up to elderly folks that are in rehab for injuries, and then elite athletes. I've done 5 Ironman competitions myself. I coach at the high school, so I'm exposed to folks from all walks of life. I've had a senior class at the, in Enumclaw for 23 years, I think. And they're the most loyal group that I work with. And they are on time. They love to work out. And I ask them, what is it that keeps you coming? Besides that but they say it's the social aspect and that they like to come and see each other. And if they're not coming, they're remembering all the folks that are coming and they feel like they're missing out or they're letting somebody down. So I thought about that and I thought, well, how can we create that form of adhesion, group social aspect, but also an adherence to a fitness program. That is the hardest thing to figure out, is finding that sweet spot of good nutrition, good exercise, and having fun. So you'll keep doing it. And senior class is a good example of that. Many of them also love to play pickleball, and it checks a lot of the boxes because anybody at any level, all shapes and sizes, all ages, can play, and they can find others to play at their level. And I know I'm repeating what others have said, but it is really a gem in terms of fitness to find something that anybody can do And the biggest barrier to fitness, getting people to be compliant with fitness, is time. They don't have time. And what I have found and observed in my friends is we'll find time. If it's hailing and snowing, we'll figure it out and we'll get a group together to play. It'll take 25 text strings, but we'll get there and we'll play. You don't see that for let's go for a jog. So it has this special quality of meeting a lot of the needs of a huge array of individuals from different backgrounds. And as a business person in this community, I certainly appreciate the chance to work with others and get them involved.
Thank you
for
for
your
coming,
time.
Steve. Kurt first. I can recognize the last name.
And why is that, Mr. Mayor?
Your husband
And
and the city of Seattle, city of
And-
Tacoma.
yes, and you graduated with my
With
son,
Derek, right?
Derek, yes.
Yep.
So I've lived here for 43 years. My name is Sherry Kerfers. I live on Elsa Street, 181 Elsa Street. And I've been asked to talk because I have a lot of years here and I know a lot of people. I recognize you too. I recognize Lynn. And I graduated in Enumclaw in 1973. So this is my area. And I retired 5 years ago and discovered, I used to play a little bit of pickleball at my cousin's house in Enumclaw, but this has been the greatest thing ever. Because it is, you meet people, I've been to Arizona twice now with new pickleball friends, people I really don't even know, and I've had the best time ever. We are bonded together. We have friends, I play with young people that they're so respectful, and the people that we are all very respectful and care about each other. We care about where we at. We don't make a lot of noise. Nobody knows when we go to play at the Expo Center. People are worried that we're going to have this big ruckus going on. It's not like that. We go into the building and then we come out. Nobody even knows what we've been doing in there. But we've had a lot of who knows? But my granddaughter goes to Bonnie Lake High School and she's playing pickleball. She's asking, Nana, would you play pickleball with me? We played pickleball before. We can play it's like the whole family can come and play. You guys, whoever says, I don't want this in my neighborhood, number one, I've lived here for over 40 years and I've seen people coming into my neighborhood, whether I want it or not. My calm, peaceful community is now crazy. It's really hard on me. I love my community. Nobody knows who I am, but this is my community. And this is what, open your eyes, see what pickleball is all about. Because you guys, I don't want to just go to the senior center. I'm not going to sit on the couch. We are all active older adults here. And like I said, it's for all ages. Any kid can come and play. And everybody has their own levels. We've had 80-something people play with 30-something people. What can you say? You can't say that about any other sport. And all you need is a pickleball paddle. So
Perfect. Thank
there
you,
you go.
Sherry.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Karen Bach. I live in Enumclaw. I was actually born in Enumclaw Hospital. And my father was actually mayor of Enumclaw for a few years. Then I moved away and went to college and I've come back. And I know all of these people behind me only because of pickleball. Seriously, I didn't know one of these people before when I lived here before. And that's really all that I would like to say, because it's a way to make new friends. They're fun. Well, most of them are nice. No, but no, they're really, it's just been a great way to connect with people. And like Sherry said, I went to Arizona with her on a vacation after meeting her in pickleball, and we talk on the phone and do all kinds of things. So it's just a wonderful activity for any age. And I would highly recommend that you encourage sport in your city.
Okay, thank you. Do we have another?
We have one individual, Glade, who I believe would like to speak.
Glade, can you hear us? Is he muted?
I've asked them to unmute.
Okay.
Looks like.
Mute your phone until called on.
Glade, we can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
What?
Go say something.
I'm not.
Oh.
Never.
Awesome. Yeah, say not at this time.
We can hear you and we can see you. If you'd like to make public comment, free.
He chooses not to say anything at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that was the only one. Okay. The next five, again, we're gonna have, last name Rienso, looks like. Okay, and then, Carla Wagner, maybe, Jim Arsano. Mark Berryhill. How many is that? 4? And Jack K, and I can't read the rest. Kraft, maybe it's KR. That'll be the number 5. Okay. Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, my name is John Rienzo. I live in Enumclaw. One of the things that I'd like to say before I go too far is I want the folks of Buckley to realize that we're willing to work with you folks that'll make it work for you. I know the people who have had complaints and concerns, we recognize that. And if it was my neighborhood too, I would also be concerned. So I want to make sure that they understand that we're not trying to force anything on anybody. We'll work with everybody to make it work. I just want to tell you my personal experiences. I retired from Mutual of Enumclaw 4 years ago. And if you haven't retired yet, you will know that when you retire, all of a sudden a part of your life changes. You were hooked into something and all of a sudden you're kind of set free. Like some of the folks have said here, this has offered me a society, a group of people that I could hook back into with. It's beneficial psychologically, not just physically, but just for my personal emotions, to be able to have people that I can see and have play with, to make connections with. And these connections are deeper than just pickleball. We get together, we have parties together. So we're not talking about something that's just a game. We're talking about almost like a society, almost a I don't know how to explain it. It's something stronger. It's emotional. So my son lives here in town with his grandchildren, and it would be really cool if there was a place in town where I could play with my grandchildren. And I'm sure you'll get people from all over Enumclaw, as you've heard from Bonnie Lake elsewhere, to come here and play. So I just wanted to let you know this. It's more than just the sport. It's about society. It's about the group of people that are playing. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Is it Carla? Okay. Yeah, please.
Hi, I'm Carla Wagner. I have lived on the plateau for about 30 years. I'm not a city of but I live in Buckley, but not city limits. So anyways, but just, I guess I'll just keep it, I don't know, just casual. But so as far as pickleball goes, like my start to pickleball was a friend's husband messaged me, and you play in 4s. It's usually a doubles game. So they're like, hey, we're one player short. You want to play? And I'm like, I don't play pickleball. And they're like, no, we saw you at these friends of ours' house on their pickleball court, and you were great. And I go, no. That was like some short game of tennis. That was not pickleball. Like, I'm not a pickleball player. And he's like, no, just come. You'll love it. So I go with them to Pickleball Station, which Edward talked about, which was like 4 years ago. And I'm like hooked. I'm like demoing their paddles. I go and buy a paddle. I'm like okay, you guys, like, okay, when are you gonna play again? Because I'm like, holy heck, I want to come back. Like it just like, it's just so funny. It was like, and then, so from there, it went to, oh, they play at the YMCA, even though it's like it's like a wood. So Pickleball Central, and what we're looking for is like the tennis court surface. So like the concrete tennis court surface. So we would go, but in that time, I would go to like different gym floors, wood floors. We would go wherever. I'm like, oh, they have it at the Y. Oh, they have it here. I mean, now I drive up to an hour to play indoors on the tennis court surface because there is no place locally to play. So I was in Gig Harbor last week. I was in Lakewood this morning. And some of these guys that came out to support us, it's great. But also the social aspect, right? It's great as far as that goes. It's multi-generational, like some people spoke about. You can play with grandkids, on the same court, grandparents, grandkids. But I don't know. And then there's tournaments, there's clinics, which Peter will talk about here because he's like our coach guru guy. But so just the community, like, I don't want to be repetitive, but just if you guys ever get a chance, come out, we'll show you, like, you will literally love it. So, and then secondly, I'm also a real estate broker. I've been on the Plateau practicing real estate for 20 years. And as far as growth for our community, I think it's huge. I think it's huge for housing value also. So definitely perk to have something like that in the community. I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I can't pronounce your last name. Just come on up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How are you doing today?
Good.
And Earl Hill, I got to apologize to you first because we're not on the same track on this, and I hold you in the highest regards. But being a past mayor and a past city administrator, you'll understand where I'm coming from. I do support pickleball. Okay, I personally hike Mount Peak. I don't hit a rat, but I support it. The questions that I bring before the council tonight is financial only from somebody that's submitted over 20 budgets to the city council in my past life. There's things that haven't been answered yet. One, has anybody seen a draft form of any type of an agreement between the Pickleball Foundation and the city council? Do we know what that's going to look like? What if I know that if I submitted something and gave it to the city worth $2 million, I'd want a little something back, like reserved times during a certain week that we use it, maybe 4 times a year that they get to put on a tournament. There's things that we don't know. I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse here. I think there's a lot of questions the city council needs to be asked. What kind of costs are we going to incur? Are we going to do a traffic impact study? God knows it'll need one out there for something like this. What kind of bathroom facilities does this building have? When I look, I can't tell what kind of bathrooms. I hope to heck we're not looking at putting a porta potty system for bathrooms outside of right next to one of the most beautiful residential areas we have in town. What about pedestrian connectivity? Our sidewalks end clear up at Sargent Street. Are we looking at putting sidewalk down there? You know, we're saying this is for kids of all ages. This is for kids. This is for adults. But I don't want my grandkids riding down Collins Road. I mean, we all know what the traffic's like out there. Are we doing wetland study? Are we doing SEPA studies? Who's picking up the engineering cost to build this building? Is the Enumclaw Club picking up the engineering cost, or is the city of Buckley picking up Dominic's cost for the engineering? I totally disagree with the numbers that were presented on what it's going to cost to run this place. First of all, you're going to be dealing with a union, and the union's going to tell you what that wage is. There's no way you can run this on 20 hours a week. You have maintenance, you have upkeep, you got lights. My understanding is it doesn't have a heating system in it, that it's due to the roof design and the draft. Well, I don't know about you, but I own a 36 by 48 shop, and this is 3 times the size. In the summer, if it's the winter, if it's 32 outside, it's 32 inside the shop. You guys, more power to you if you're going to play pickleball in 32-degree weather. And that's what it's, and like I said, more power to you. I climb Mount Peak in 32-degree weather. So, but anyway, those are my things. It's not that I'm against pickleball. There's a whole bunch of financial answers that need to be answered. Took 2 years to get a no out of Enumclaw. We're 2.5 months into this and ready to put ink on a piece of paper. Strongly disagree with that. Let's do our homework. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Jim. Mark.
Hello, thank you. I'm Mark Berryhill, longtime Buckley resident. I've actually lived here so long. When I moved in, the Miller Park was the Miller Farm. The Millers were there, still there. When they put it up for sale, a community group that I live in decided we should ask the city, the park board, if we could buy the Miller Farm, if the city would buy the Miller Farm and turn it into a park. So I got voluntold to come up and go to the park board meeting, and I did. And with one of the neighbors, and it was very easy. We said, could you buy this? They said, we've been waiting for somebody to suggest this. Yes, we can. Got a great plan going. At that time, Council Member Johnson, before she was mayor, really helped out because she wanted to turn half of it into the retirement center. And we love them. They're excellent neighbors. Once we got the property, the whole intent always has been a neighborhood open park. Walkways, wildlife, playgrounds. It's always been the intent. It was what we were told the Millers we were going to do, what the park board has always told us to do. And we are patiently waiting for it to be developed, and we'll continue to be patient. But we have to continually coming up here and trying to remind the city council every few years that somebody wants to take our park from us. When it was the first group was bought right before we did the skate park, and the skate park people, they latched right onto it, and they were going to build the skate park there. This council back then in the 90s had to tell them, no, that's the wrong place for it. It's going to be a neighborhood park. Not long after that, softball people came in. Enumclaw got their sixplex. They wanted a sixplex out there. Again, this council told them no. The craziest one of all, the fire department wanted it at one time, wanted to build a fire station out there. We had a huge meeting, found a better place for the fire department. And now pickleball sees it, and I am all for pickleball. I'm gonna go try it now as I hear about this. Sounds wonderful. I just want to protect the park for what its intent was, what we told the Millers it was going to be. I thought I was going to talk to a whole new group, but Lynn, I think, would agree with me that how this conversation has been going on for 20 years. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else on Zoom?
I think we have one more
Oh,
person. and then we
oh,
need
sorry. Yep,
on
one
Zoom.
more.
My name is Jack Kieft. I live in Enumclaw. I've been playing pickleball for just under a year with these people. I think all the advantages of the game have been said. I think the advantage to Buckley is all the customers that are going to be going through your town. So I'm for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
On Zoom, we have Koi M.
Hey, Coy, if you can, oh yeah, Coy M, can you hear? And can we hear you?
Koi M, you have the floor. All right, Mr. Mayor, I recommend we circle
Oh,
back.
okay, we can come back to it. Okay, next group, that was the only one we had. Okay, next, Connie Bender, I didn't see you. Are you here? Oh, there you are. Lisa Torin, possibly. Peter HUD, looks like headache, but I'm sure that's not it. Ken Walsh. Lori McDonald. 1, 2. I think that, yeah, that'll be 5. Connie, go ahead.
Excuse me, my name's Connie Bender and I do live within the city of Buckley. You know, this is great and I'm glad everybody's found something, especially everybody from Enumclaw, that they can do. When it comes right down to it, it's money. If it sounds too good to be true, then it probably isn't. We are trying to balance a lot of different things right now. And our budget is not balanced. To spend more money on this pickleball project, you know, it would not be prudent to do it at this time. Maybe a few years down the road, when things are more settled, we've got a basketball court that isn't finished. We've got a parking lot they want to put in. Miller Park, through our comprehensive plan, Miller Park's been there forever. You're supposed to have a park within a neighborhood so many miles. Well, now that Ryan is growing up and is going to be growing up more with the Blueberry Farm and all the others, we need a park down there. Got a little one up on the hill. It's got a swing and a little kiddie toy. So that's something that we should be looking at, getting that park done. If you're going to spend money, spend it on the projects we have. Because you're going to end up with utilities is going to have to be paid for that building, lights, water. You're going to have maintenance go in and clean. That's extra money. You're going to have somebody staying there the whole time when people are wanting to play. You can't just open the door and hope to gosh, whoever goes in there and it's fine. So it's going to cost and it's going to be an ongoing cost. That would be fine if we had a balanced budget where, okay, we've got this extra, we could do it. Now's not the time. And if all these people from Enumclaw and Bonnie Lake, go back and talk to your city officials. They've got the money. We're a small town. We don't have this kind of money. We are just, you can't pick a pocket to get something to work. So that's all.
Thanks, Connie. Lisa?
Good evening. My name is Lisa Torin, and I live up in Tahale. I moved here 2 years ago from Minnesota, where right now they have snow that's like this. And one of the advantages of being here is to be outdoors. And so pickleball, I just picked up pickleball 2 years ago. And I just wanted to share a little bit. Where I came from in Minnesota, it was a little bit bigger town than Buckley, but not a whole lot when we first moved there. It is very large now. One of the best things they did as that city grew is to make sure that there were places for youth to go and stay active, healthy things to do. And that is something that I think this facility offers, is an opportunity for those kids that I totally get, you know, people who live in these neighborhoods and they're a little concerned. But as your kids get older, you're going to want them to have a place like this because it'll keep them out of, you know, some trouble possibly. And it also brings communities together. And we need a lot of that right now. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter?
Hi, my name is Peter Hudako. I live in Ravensdale and I am a pickleball instructor, which is funny even saying that out loud, that's an actual job. I can't really touch on the financial side of it. I don't know. I think that's for smarter people to discuss as far as what goes into it and what you get out of it. I don't know. What I can tell you is what this weird little hobby has done for people. It's funny because I always think, where do people go to meet people? Like, where do you go? You go to church, you go to the bar, I don't know. And pickleball is one of those things that people don't know that unintentionally they're going to a facility to make friends. I teach people in their 80s. I've taught women that were not allowed to play sports in high school. And to just kind of see their growth and like their vulnerability to accept something new and to find a new group of friends and to find a different, find different people that you can actually be around and love and admire it's something like I've never seen. I've played sports my whole entire life. I believe that sports, when you're younger, you hang out with those people because you kind of have to. I hang out with 18-year-old kids. I hang out with 85-year-old women, and we sit and shoot the breeze and talk about politics or talk about nothing but it's just different. The amount of love that is actually in this game is unbelievably shocking. And for a small community like Buckley, to have a community-based event, I think would shock all of them. I've been to places where they've been hesitant to build facilities. They've been nervous, and I've seen pickleball facilities go up, and seen 2 years later a park in that same facility being built, because now there's a good amount of people that are actually there and care, and for they're not from your city, but they're willing to donate, they're willing to hand out, and they're willing to spend time doing those types of things. So for me, it's just it's a no-brainer for your community. Right? Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Ken?
I'm Ken Walsh. I live in Enumclaw. I've been there 30 years. I come through Buckley for the last 30 years, probably 5 days a week. I go to Northwest Fitness over here, the gym. And I've watched Buckley kind of grow and progress on different things as I drive through every day. I always thought it was really cool how they put in the skateboard park and the basketball courts, thinking that really supports a diverse group of people, young people, giving them something to do. I think this is a way to not only support a lot of age groups, but especially the community or population of aging people. And as Gordon said, it's, he played sports all his life. It's a chance to go from basketball, softball, racquetball into another sport and play it into your 80s. And I'd love to see that happen and see Buckley support that as they have with the skateboard, basketball. I'll turn my time over there.
Okay, thank you.
So it's interesting for me to hear the whole community reaction. There's passionate players and you hear them and they talk about the multi-generational element and the passion that's involved. And that's at the core of pickleball tourism, that people travel and they travel regionally to play every day. I mean, you hear these people talking about, I'm jumping in a car and I'm going to go drive an hour to go play. So the question that I think about as I listen to the concerns, which are incredibly valid, and having been someone living on the plateau for 30 years, I understand what it's like to try and get projects done in the city or city of Enumclaw or Buckley. It's about a governance model, I think. And that's what I'm listening to here is helping. I think there's a project here to help everybody understand what do the economics look like and what are the models that succeed. The city of Bend has a 16-court facility that is entirely run by a nonprofit organization, staffed, maintained, et cetera. They raise money, they charge membership fees, there is court access, they host tournaments, and it has a multi-million-dollar impact on the city of Bend. That money is going directly into breweries, restaurants, Airbnb operators, hotels. It's flowing into the coffers of the city. So when I hear people talking about the economic concerns, I totally get it. But what you should also maybe look at in this project is open your mind up to the different models of how you can collaborate with a nonprofit to be able to execute a project like this. They're going to help with the capital side. They can help with the operating side. And then it's up to the collaboration to turn it into a public benefit. This young man here and I started a 4-court facility in 2017. We were generating $370,000 a year off of 4 courts as a pilot project, a laboratory that we were running just to be able to show municipal and corporate entities how they could make their programs successful. There's a variety of membership revenues, tournament participation revenues, tourism revenues, festival revenues. But the key is to be able to design the venue to match the community. And there are, in the presentation I sent out earlier, the concerns that I'm hearing here are very similar to the concerns I've heard talking to Brigham City and Bend and all the cities that I've worked with. There are almost always solutions to these problems.
that then can transform this into something that really benefits the community. As a longtime Buckley Log Show spectator, I would love to be a Buckley pickleball spectator and see that same sort of economic benefit brought to the community in addition to all the social and health benefits. And I'd be happy to help collaborate however I can to make connections with like-minded entities to help you see how the different models work.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Lori.
Hi, I am Lori McDonald. I am an Enumclaw resident. I am for the pickleball court. I am a donor. I have played pickleball. They haven't got me hooked yet. I'm not retired. But, you know, there's a lot of hurdles that you're bringing up. But this is a gift that they're trying to give you. And I think the issues can be worked out. I came over from Buckley or from Enumclaw tonight. I sat down in the bistro. First time I've come over here and had dinner in years. I brought money. That's what you're looking at, what pickleball will do. It will bring money to Buckley. A lot of times with those tournaments, they're looking for a place to stay. How many VRBOs do you guys have in Buckley now? You've got a hotel. It will be used. There's other ways to facilitate taking care of the place. I donate my time cooking at the senior center. You create a donation, somebody volunteering their time to help with the pickleball. There's lots of ways to overcome some of the issues that have been brought up. But again, it is a gift and I think it should be used. Thank you.
Thank you. We have that Coy back or another. via
Circling
Zoom?
back to Coy.
Say that. ag-
They reported that their microphone may not be working, but
Oh, okay. Okay, do we have any more on the Zoom list?
Coy, are you able to speak? Doesn't look like it. So they'll hopefully participate on the 28th.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna, Eileen Armstrong, possibly. Molly. Erica Withgo. Russ Hawley. And Amy Boucher.
Hi, I'm Aileen Armstrong. I'm an Enumclaw resident, and I'm here in support of the pickleball facility, and I'm gonna cede my time to Edward, if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, guys. Didn't mean to be a shill or anything here. And I wish that this was more of a forum of interaction where there could be like specific questions asked. And I could actually say, well, this is how these people solved it. So I'm a snowbird now. I'm retired. My last job was in pickleball. And that's a really crazy thing to say, that a guy from Enumclaw ended up being the CEO of the largest pickleball company in the world. But what it helped me understand was pickleball is this kind of magical thing that's multi-generational. And so the number of families that have sometimes 3 and even 4 generations on the court at the same time is the magic that makes it live in a commercial sense. And so pickleball players are used to a pay-to-play model, a participatory model, if there's a facility that is of quality. And so you heard the players talking about they want a hard court facility, a dedicated facility with the right kind of nets that's covered from the rain. And there was this wonderful comment about 32 degrees. Yeah, we play in 32 degrees. So that's not the issue because I hike Mount Peak at 32 degrees and colder. The economic models, I think that's really the question here. If the city is interested in actually driving more revenues into the city's tax coffers and supporting the businesses that also indirectly drive revenues into the coffers, there are models out there. And we can look at what's going on in all of these places. Naples, Florida made the investment in a 14 or 16 court facility back in 2014. It turned into the home of the US Open Pickleball Championships. There are 60 courts there now. This thing drives tens of millions of dollars a year to Collier County. on the tax side. So the revenue isn't the issue. It is really a community engagement collaboration issue. So when you get some group of people who are willing to gift the capital, and that's what's necessary to get it over the hump, to get it built, and then the flywheel effect of keeping it going, this is a passionate community that is growing rapidly. And they'll be able to partner with businesses and with players to create community-friendly events that can sustain this thing. And there is no venue within, 80 miles of here that's like what they're proposing. A year-round capable destination tourism pickleball facility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Molly.
I'm Molly Klemko. I live in the city limits of Buckley. I live in Shea Estates. First, I want to say thank you because this project has been done in a different way than the last project. And I appreciate you guys for taking the time and taking the right steps to do this the right way. I'm also not against pickleball. I play pickleball, but I have some concerns as a citizen that I don't think we have answers to. And we don't have enough information. And I don't think as a council, we have enough information to make an educated decision yet. I don't believe we've seen a detailed plan on what it's going to look like to run a facility like this. I hear that it's going to bring in revenue, but as a taxpayer, that's not guaranteed. It's not something that it's told to us and it's going to happen, right? So I'd like to see something like that. Will this be open to the public? I think that's kind of been answered, but I'm a little unsure if it's going to be staffed all the time. Sounds like it probably needs to be. So if we're only going to use it 20 hours a week, that doesn't seem like enough revenue to bring in enough for us to pay for it. What kind of insurance are we going to need to carry to have something like this? How do we know that it's going to be sustainable? Winter months, it sounds like it can be used in the winter months. Are we as taxpayers going to be responsible for any cost that it would cost to run it if it's not there from the revenue? I kind of got an answer on who's going to use it, but I do believe whoever made the comment that it is primarily for people who are of older age. It's not for the youth. And when I'm just going off the comment he said, but I'm thinking when we talked about that sports complex that was going to go out by our neighborhood, it was about the youth, bringing in kids are in school most of the time. If this is a facility they have to pay to get into, if it's not staffed all the time, what would that look like? I just need answers. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I just think we need those answers. I think some other concerns I have, which were somewhat answered, but why didn't the city of Enumclaw jump on this? You know, they have a lot of property and a lot more money than the city of Buckley has. I think it can be something that should have been pushed a little bit harder there. I'm concerned that we have projects that we haven't finished as a community or even started. That Miller project, I feel like that project's been talked about at almost every city council meeting I've been at, and it hasn't been started. We don't know what it's going to cost to operate that park. And yet we're trying to talk about opening something else that also is going to have operating costs. I feel like we need to know that before we jump into something else. Okay, so
Thanks, Molly.
I'll finish the rest.
Okay. Erica?
Good evening. My name's Erica Whitgo, and I'm a within the city limits resident. I'll keep it really short. I'm not against pickleball, like has been said before, but I'd like to address the locations. I would like to encourage the city to look more closely at the 410 property, as it's already been said about the Miller property. I don't need to reiterate all of those comments. The Collins Road property, with the amount of players that it seems that this facility would attract, I do have concerns about the safety of that road. If a traffic study would be done out there, and how the city plans to manage that. If we want to encourage this facility to be used by everybody in our community, including the youth, I really feel like it needs to be at a walkable location for them. I also think that helps with bringing revenue into the businesses that are right downtown, having them be a walkable distance from the location. But a facility this large should really encompass our whole community. And a big part of that are non-drivers. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Russ?
Russ Hawley. I live in Auburn. Thank you for the opportunity to come and present tonight. Just a couple of things, not to dwell on the things that have already been spoken to. So I'm semi-retired. I've been playing sports all of my life. I picked up pickleball and ran into Dana a couple of years ago. I absolutely love the sport. I play an average of 3 to 5 times a week, 2 hours at a shot. And just 2 days ago, I was playing on the court and there were 16 of us in the morning. And one person was 22, another one was 75. And so lots of ages. And just to speak to the comment that was just made a few minutes ago about ages. So many of us that have spoken tonight, you're noticing, there's an age range largely. But what you're not seeing is I live in the city of Auburn. If you go to Game Farm Park on any sunny evening and you look at the tennis courts, every one of them is doubled up. And they're playing pickleball and there's 60 to 80 people there playing on those courts. As soon as the sun comes out, guarantee you will see them down there. And so, and those people are all family age. None of those people are really retired, but those people don't have the ability to play when we have the ability to play because we're either retired or semi-retired, but they're playing in the evenings and they're out and the age is, they're working people. And so if you had a facility that would be available in a time slot where families could play after dinner and after work into the evening, I think that's a ball game right there. So thank you.
Yep, thank you. Amy, I know I saw you somewhere. She left. Oh, she did. Okay. Abby would be number 5 since, oh, yep, please.
Okay. My name's Abby Hansen and I live in Enumclaw. I love pickleball. I started playing as a kid on my aunt and uncle's backyard sports court. Back then, not many people had ever heard of pickleball, but my family and I loved it. Unfortunately, my aunt and uncle moved about 10 years ago, and that was the end of pickleball for me, or so I thought. A few years ago, though, I got super excited when a small group in Enumclaw started making the outdoor tennis courts, marking it with tape for pickleball lines. I spent almost every day that summer playing with this awesome group and falling more and more in love with the sport. It started with a few beginners and turned into much more competitive play with not enough space for all the players coming out. It turned into also renting out the Enumclaw Expo Center and purchasing pickleball nets and making lines indoors to splitting the costs of balls to making lifelong friends and so many amazing games and memories to count. Whenever I travel with my family or friends, we look for pickleball courts and facilities. We've even met up with fellow Enumclaw pickleball friends to play the sport we all love so much, like California, Arizona, et cetera, that have facilities to play. Well, now I work full time and Washington rains a lot, so I can't play outdoors and I can't play indoors anymore because the Expo Center is only available in the morning when I'm working. The Expo Center has been great, just FYI, for all able to play the sport, but the need for this group to expand better facilities, actual pickleball courts, and especially for me and so many friends of mine that are in the same boat that work, night and weekend play would be amazing. I also have 2 kids at home, 13 and 10, and they play lots of sports and they have lots of friends that love sports. They're all learning and loving pickleball now too. And as a mom, having more options for them to have healthy recreational things to do locally is so huge to me, as well as so many friends of mine with kids my age. I know this would bring so many people to the city of Buckley and allow people to play more of the sport that is so amazing and so fastly growing. Thank you so much for considering this.
Thank you. That is the end of my list, but I know some folks came in late. If you want to give me your name, well, actually before, did you put your name on the list? Okay, yeah, go ahead. And well, do we have any more?
Nobody via Zoom, but if you would like to participate via Zoom, please raise your hand.
Okay. I'll try and find your name on here and.
Okay, yeah, my name's Dale Maris, live outside of Buckley. We have the lease out at Rainier School.
Yep.
For the egg lands. The land out there it's a very rare jewel. I mean, that's some of the best egg land I've seen in Pierce County. The facility out there, would be fantastic for an agritourism, venue. What I'm afraid of is if the pickleball court, which I'm very much in favor for, I think it's a great idea. I love pickleball. I don't think it's conforming to the why put a pickleball court in the middle of Eggland is my question on it there. One of the reasons why I've been hesitant to try and pursue anything out there is the master lease with the state has a 6-month bailout clause that they can cancel the lease at any time with lease on it. So that's why I've been hesitant to put any more money into it than I have. With that being into talking to Courtney, there's possibility of renegotiating with the state that could change in the future. As it stands right now, I understand it is still intact and in place. I think pickleball is the right time, but I think the Collins Road venue is the wrong place. If it were to go out there, if we could keep it in a corner rather than stick it in the middle of the field, back where the sewage treatment plant used to be, there's a lot of underground infrastructure that doesn't lend itself to agriculture. So it could possibly coexist out there with a public road going right to it as it is already. I'm just trying to preserve that site as it is with the infrastructure that's there. It's a tremendous potential to it. I hate to see it squandered just because it's an easy target. Thanks.
Yep, thank you. And if anybody else would like to, after hearing the comments tonight, would like to speak, if you signed up or if you didn't, I can write your name in. Do we have anybody else would like to speak? Just simply name, not address, name, whether you're in the city limits or not. And you can simply just say, I'm for this or against this, or I like this location versus this location. Anything you'd like to. Yep, please. Sorry, say that again.
STOHR, sounds like the grocery store. Easy to say,
Okay,
hard to spell.
Lance, okay.
So yeah, I'm with Shea Estates. I mean, it's more, and thank you for letting me speak. It's more, again, a lot of, and man, nobody's against pickleball, nobody.
Take that to the mic.
Oh, sorry, nobody's against pickleball. No, I don't think that's the point. I think mostly I'm against the Collins location. It's a really good piece of land, and no disrespect, but when somebody shows up with cash in hand with a short timeline that's not a voter, I would just say we should probably pace ourselves and make sure we got the numbers, we got the science, we're making the right decision, we're making a plan, we're not reacting, we're being proactive. So I'd encourage that as much as possible. But mostly I'd probably, if I had to do it, or if we find out the numbers work, and if the numbers work, the numbers work. I get it. We're kind of running a business here. So, I'd definitely encourage the 410 location if we're going to decide on a location. Again, mostly because that is a beautiful piece of land back there. It has a lot of potential. The lease does, obviously the state-owned lease makes it a little complicated. So there's risk there. So again, I would look at the very lowest risk, lowest possible area to put this, as far as especially like owning the property, how is it going to be managed. But it really did come down to, there's two real arguments here, right? Either this is going to bring in more money that's going to cost, or it's not. And that's the decision you guys got to make. So just be sure that, we're listening to the voters of the community and not people that are just trying to bring something to us in a rushed manner. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Please come ahead. Do we have anybody else on Zoom, Courtney?
Yes, BDA
Okay.
just answered.
All right.
First name Arden, ARDEN. Second name Barden, BARDEN.
Okay.
My mother's responsible for that.
And in the city limits or?
I'm in Enumclaw.
Enumclaw, okay,
Yeah.
Perfect.
I want to speak to the spirituality. I'm a retired pastor. I've been a pastor for 51 years. And a lot of churches would love to have the kind of enthusiasm about what churches are about as pickleball people. Churches now are spending their time arguing and talking about what they want other people not to do. This is a group that wants to talk about what they want people to do and how they want people to be. There's hardly ever a bad word spoken. Sherry misses a shot. You might hear something, but, oh, I didn't mean, she's from Buckley. I shouldn't have said, but no, I'm really serious about that there's a quality about this that, yes, it intermixes intergenerationally. We try to do that as churches. It intermixes, the gender. We try to do that as churches. It tries to lift up character and support people who are struggling in different ways. And as churches, we try to do that. So I just want to support, I guess, however this goes, to say that that's, to me, is a good thing. And so I contribute that. I do think that there are all kinds of ways that more can happen in the community. I mean, I start to think about ways that, there could be inter-family competition, or ways that special groups are brought together in the community, and with other communities. It could be a lot of fun growth. It could be some of the new stuff that would make our country much better again. Thanks.
Yep, thank you. Do we have any,
We do have someone on
oh,
Zoom.
that's right, another Zoom.
ADA.
Hi, Amy Boucher with the Buckley Downtown Association. Sorry, I had to leave, so I'm joining via Zoom, but I just want to say, what the pastor just said, that's exactly, as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the enthusiasm, to the passion behind what this pickleball project represents. It's great. There's a lot of, this is a great opportunity. However, also what others have spoken about with timing, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, so my role as the executive director for the Buckley Downtown Association, our mission is to revitalize downtown Buckley, to make it a place community gathers and businesses thrive. And this is something that would help support that mission. But at the same time, when we just heard at our last council meeting that, we're about to go into a deficit, we are understaffed, and, there's some concern there of like, how can we take on this project just, as it's being presented. That's concerning, because we're coming to the city, asking for support and funding for some other projects to help revitalize downtown Buckley. So, I think that there's a way to make this happen. And I think there's a way that, collectively, there's a lot of great passion. There's a lot of good passion and a lot of great minds in the room tonight that I think can answer these questions and come up with a really good plan on how to make it financially a self-sustaining facility that then the city could maybe take on. Having worked for Metro Parks Tacoma, I mean, you can run a good program and help it and make it be financially self-supporting, and bring in a revenue, and bring in a people and provide a recreation asset to the community. I think that it's possible. I'm really hopeful about progress forward. Like I said, I think this does align with the BDA mission. I think it will help bring business to the town, and will help with those tourist type activities and highlight things. I mean, people coming from far and wide. However, we have to support. We have to make sure we're sustaining our own community first before we start outreaching. Before we start, going to that stream to reach outward, and draw those people in. So I just wanted to make sure that, and we're not saying we support, we're not saying we're against right now. I guess maybe against in a sense of like more questions need to be, more answers need to come for those questions regarding like, being financially sustainable. And maybe like a long-term lease of some kind, where if the Pickleball Association could manage it and get it to up to par to a place that it can be easily managed. Anyways, those are just some thoughts that I'm having. I love the passion, and I love what this could draw to Buckley. But I also know that there's a financial responsibility that needs to take place as well. So I know, I don't have a doubt that we'll be able to come to a good agreement as far as forward motion. I don't know how fast this has to move, if this is something that needs to happen now, or can we put this off and get a good, better plan in place. I don't know what the financial restraints are on the Pickleball Association, but thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Anybody else? Yeah, please.
My name is Jamie Benden. I live at 268 North Neely Street.
Sorry, last name?
Benden, B-E-N-D-O-N.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of good things talked about here tonight. I've never played pickleball, but man, I want to get out there and go do it now. I've got a son that's a high school PE teacher down at Sumner, and he plays pickleball. So I'm gonna have to talk to him about this. But I've been here for 6 years now, and this first time, well, I've been here about 3 of these meetings now. So I used to be on the design commission for the city of Bonnie Lake. I know there's a lot of different things that have to go into this as a city when you have to talk about and think about and do a budget. And so that's up to you. I'm not here to say anything. What I do want to say is if we put it anywhere, I think it needs to be up on 410. That was it.
Okay.
Where? 410. Put it out on 410.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Boyles, back there, anything? You got 2 more weeks to research. Ken, anybody else? Buster? Anybody? I'm just picking out people that I recognize that haven't spoke. Anybody else like to speak on this? Do we have anybody else on Zoom?
Oh, there's.
Oh yeah, please come ahead.
I'm Janet Phillips and I live in the city of Buckley. And I would like you to know that I moved out here 18 years ago to get out of Tacoma. I was tired of the shooting. I was tired of the drugs. I was tired of the litter everywhere you looked. I was tired of the people. And I came out here and I found heaven. And I don't want my heaven to turn out like it was in Tacoma. I hear it every night on the news. I see it every time I go into town to visit my friends. I miss the animals that were running past the house. I remember within the first 2 years that we lived out there, my husband was riding his bicycle home because he did Vanpool. And he told me, he says, you won't believe this, but he says, here I come and I'm just ready to go down the hill to the fields. And here comes the black bear running to town. A black bear passed him, headed for town. Anyway, I don't want the pickleball court any more next to my property than I would a bowling alley. We have mostly seniors out there. We don't have any little children, but maybe 1 or 2. The rest of us are older. My personal opinion is I like my peace and quiet. I love my community. We're all friends. Every one of us out there knows the other person and we are friends. And I'm not interested in it. If I wanted to be in a group, I'll go to town. I'll go someplace else. I don't need to put out here in my little slice of heaven where my home and my neighbors' homes are butted right up against the mountains. Right up against the mountains. Why do I have to have something like that right up against the mountains when town is full of it and some of the other places is full of places to go? And so I think I've made it pretty clear that I'm not very happy about having that out there. And I thank you very much for this time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hi, Dave. Anybody else like to speak? Nothing else on Zoom? Okay. All right, and we will, just a refresher, we'll be back here 2 weeks from now for anybody that didn't speak and would like to speak 2 weeks from now. We'll be back here again, doing this again. So, all right, on to committee reports, admin, finance, and public safety. Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, the meeting was.
Okay. It's not on.
But I gotta know is, can we afford this?
Community services. If you want to wait, Brandon, we'll let it know. Thank you, everybody, for coming also. Thank you.
Mayor, would you like to maybe take a couple minute recess?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll pause.
Okay. Anybody, anybody want to use the bathroom? Although it might be packed. We'll take a couple minute recess here.
I almost. God, I was on speaker.
You're missing what I got.
Okay. How you doing?
Space wise, put it all the way down. I mean, the review process. One thing they have there, was the bills right there, like,
Yeah, that's funny. Oh my God. Okay. I know.
Yeah, there's room there. to do Everybody. Arizona. That's why I didn't let our kids get into all that. And you know, my kid, my boys playing family, they don't, it's. Play. That's what I'm saying is, I think there's money to pay there. Oh, I think so. I don't think it's, I just don't have great. There's no, and we don't, of the locations, none of them are like, oh yeah, this is easy. None of them are great. What do we do with it? And then they flew them out there. That just came up the other day. Right, we gotta, yeah, we want to set it someplace.
Interesting comments.
Yeah.
Good comment.
Yeah, a lot of good comments.
I personally think it's doable if we own the property.
Yeah.
Buy that 5 acres. They're on the corner out there. Buy on Collins Road.
Yeah.
Buy that 5 acres, put it there.
Do you think we could sustain that and Miller Park budget wise?
They're paying for it. They're paying for it.
I think we need to look into that. Because that guy said that to run it.
That's all. We're hooking up the utility.
What's that one?
So we're close to hooking up the utility.
All of it's right there, yeah.
It's the guys right there. And one thing, my son read a thing in somewhere, said, like being in a firing range. They make that much now.
Oh, yeah.
That's okay, I'm gonna mention it.
Yeah, it's, no, this
isn't
Congress, right, where you have 15 minutes. We'll get a legal opinion on it too, and just so we
I'd
can,
like to comment.
you've got to bring your own ideas.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I like this recess idea, except for it drags things out.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, we've been sitting here.
Yeah.
Got it. Or the
Yeah,
last hour and a half. Jay Estates.
I think so, yeah.
She was sergeant, I think.
Sergeant.
One road this way.
Who's that?
Oh,
The
okay.
last lady that spoke was she from sergeant.
Oh, she's.
Yeah.
Up in that. Middle area. Houses.
Janet Phillips, I think Shay. Janet Phillips.
We will restart the council meeting here after our short recess at 7:40 and community services, Brandon.
Yeah, so Community Services Committee met on March 6th, which already seems like a lifetime ago. Was that last week? I don't know. Pretty much everything on this list here, it was discussed in the study session, so I won't belabor it. The only difference is, so the staffing update, when we met, there was a part-time position, the candidates were being looked at to make an offer at the end of the week. So I do know that an offer was made and Ashley starts Monday. So that position has been filled and we have some starting. And that's really, there's really nothing else to talk about. We talked about the study session.
Okay. All right. Super, thank you. Admin, finance and public safety was canceled.
Yes, it was.
Okay. Council member comments and good of the order, Mr. Smith.
Well, as anticipated, and I have no problem with, that's what democracy looks like. People coming and addressing their elected representatives. Except for tonight, we had a group of people that came that was highly organized, obviously, to address a elected body that does not represent them. And the only person I heard speak that's involved with the pickleball group, there was one gentle lady that I believe lives in Buckley that was part of that group. Somebody stated that if something is too good to be true, it probably is, or I forget the right verbiage. We have a group that is proposing to build, and we would have to accept a pickleball facility. The city provided, staff identified 3 potential city-owned locations, and we heard from folks from our community, taxpayers, that spoke about the different locations. Mostly against, some pro. And when the folks got up, struck me as it's like a cult, this pickleball cult. It's like the next thing since sliced bread. I mean, I don't even know what it is, right? And great, you play it and all that. But what really put me off is when people stand up, they watch too much C-SPAN or whatever they do. They stand up to speak and they want to yield their time. And I appreciate the mayor's going to ask the city attorney for a legal opinion, because this was a public town hall. You should bring your own ideas. And I'm not aware that we have a parliamentary procedure to sign up to speak and to yield my time to somebody else who was the pre-programmed individual to speak on the topic. Others had said that, okay, I don't have a problem with pickleball, but why are we rushing? I agree. It sounds to me like some of the presenters are sounding like this is going to be 24-hour fitness. That is way more than 20 hours a week. So this is, we need to pump the brakes. Yes, I know in two weeks we have another town hall. Great. This is for the long haul. This is to do the due diligence, to pencil out. Does this make sense? I'm all about bringing in new revenue to the city, more people coming in, visiting our restaurants, shops, whatever. We just need to listen and pencil the stuff out. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. All right, other council member comments. Marvin, I know you got something.
I got a couple things.
Okay.
First off, we haven't heard enough yet to really discuss this. We've heard from people, but we do not have enough information and where we can sit down and really discuss it. And, you know, I am all in favor of anything that can be done to improve this city. I mean, seriously. And I'll just stop right there on that. Okay. We're getting rumblings. The council hasn't been clued in other than it's happening, that might have a little revenue shortage. And I want to get on record so that we understand what I expect when we're doing this. First off, no cuts in public safety. We know what happened in every city that even discussed it. I will not accept that. I do not want to look like everybody I see on TV. Period. You know, we're doing pretty good. We need to do better. Secondly, we need to address the money for the road fund. And lastly, we need to make sure every function in our city is self-supporting. We've got too much money going out of our city-owned enterprises supporting other organizations, regular budget items. And that's not only money, but management.
Staff time.
Those things have to be addressed before we start talking about anything. There may be other people that have other things, but those three I think are important.
Okay.
And thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
By the way,
Almost.
I don't, from what I hear, none of our people that are on staff today are responsible for this. This is the rumor I hear. I may be wrong.
Responsible for
this money shortage.
Oh, okay. Okay. Kinsey.
I just wanted to kind of shift gears. Recently, I had the privilege of, in my White River High School soccer coach role, of working with the Buckley Downtown Association to kind of fundraise money. I wasn't really a part of it. My booster was, but it was awesome to kind of be there and see the community involvement. And they just did a great job doing that. And I feel like their mission truly shined in that experience. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and thank you for the work they're doing to revitalize our town and bring people together, because I met people, I mean, I've been here my whole life, grew up here, I'm young. I met so many new people who know my grandparents, and it was just so cool to make that connection. And it was a great time. So just wanted to give them a shout out.
I know. Thank you. Any other council member comments? Good of the order stuff?
I got one.
Kenny.
No, sorry. So
I was just bringing back up the fact, because, well, I guess I could wait till unfinished business, but we were asked by Ally to look at the beer garden plan, and I know by, what is it? By what, April, May, they start applying.
Yep.
So it only gives us a month to come up with, if we are changing plans, to give her an answer.
Okay.
So it's something we should look at.
Okay. Yep.
Thanks.
Duly noted. Thank you. All right, nothing on this side. Okay.
can I say one more?
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
I do agree. I think it was either Ron or Marvin stated this. The pickleball thing, we heard a lot tonight, and I know Courtney, you were very transparent with getting our questions to you, so they're in the staff report. I do, however, would be in favor of a study session to just tackle this, because I feel like so many questions and something in an email or all those questions can kind of be construed. And I just want it face to face so we can have those conversations moving forward. So I know I'm not in favor of adding so many meetings. I have them every week, but if we need to do it, I feel like that is our responsibility. So I would just like to see if everyone else is kind of in agreement and if that's even possible.
Okay, Brandon.
Yeah, I'd definitely be in agreement and give up another, Tuesday happily to do it. The pickleball thing is really interesting to me. Like I said before, when we first started this off, when we did pickleball in high school, I listened to my Walkman on the bleachers and didn't play. So I was a rebellious teen. But I mean, clearly there's a lot of passion. I think it definitely is an opportunity to get people out and moving and keep the community healthy. We heard from a lot of people that weren't from the city, like that was pretty clear. I took notes on where everyone's from, and it was like, overwhelmingly Enumclaw. And, I would love to see more Buckley people come out rather than just, obviously the folks who would be affected at Shea Estates that weren't right there. Of course, they're going to come out, but I'd love to hear from more Buckley folks. But there is on the flip side, though. I mean, clearly it brings people from out of town into our town too. So there's that. But I agree. I'd like to see more details on it. I want to see the finances, how it really breaks out, like in detail. The high level breakdown we have is really nice. And I can see like that it could be merits, that it could be a revenue generator. It absolutely could be. But I'd like to see more about details of the finances and also what the actual footprint looks like on the different proposed spots. Specifically River, I would love to see more like how much space would that actually take up. Would there still be open space there? Room for all kinds of other activities, but so yeah, interesting conversation, and looking forward to hearing more.
Yeah. Okay. Mackenzie.
One last final comment. I was interested today, just coming into this conversation. I have always thought of pickleball as an older generation sport. I mean, I like playing it, but I do think of older people playing it. I did, however, ask my PE teacher at my school, Wilkinson Elementary, if it was in their curriculum, and it is in the last 2 years was added into the PE curriculum. So it is interesting to hear that it is being added into our youth programs. So I feel like in the future it will be an up and coming thing. However, I do feel like right now we need to pump the brakes and have more discussions. So
Perfect. Thank you. Nothing, Amanda? Nothing? Okay. Lynn? No? Okay. Marvin?
In passing, I just happened to notice this on the sports page. Anybody here know who Jewel Lloyd is? Jewel Lloyd is one of the big three on the Seattle Storm.
Okay.
Came from Notre Dame. She's the 4th ranked female pickleball player in the country. I mean, so it's not just kids. I mean, she's a real athlete.
Yep.
You watched her play, and I watched her play a little, not a lot, but she's pretty good.
Right on. Okay. All right. Let's see. Consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Staff reports, what's the council's pleasure? We can dig down and do our homework at home, or we can have Courtney bang through this real quick.
I have Chris on Zoom, and if we could
okay.
start with stormwater, we'll be real brief on both of these items.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Nope.
Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep.
There you go. So real quick, this is, this memo serves as an introduction to the adoption of the 2023 City of Buckley Stormwater Management Program. This is an ordinance you guys will see at the next council meeting. Most of you are aware that this is something that we go through annually and is required by DOE. Are there, anybody have any questions?
Wrong.
Director Banks, this is Councilmember Smith. Is there an acronym for this program?
NPDES.
That's the NPDES, or which is the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. There's another acronym called the SWIP, which is SWMP, which stands for Stormwater Management Program. And then I know this is your favorite, the SMAP is part of this permit process.
Thank you. I could not remember the that acronym. Thank you for that.
I got one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Still paying $3,500 for it. That's what they were charging originally.
Is that right?
For the permit fee?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay. Any other questions for Chris on the stormwater? Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
My other item tonight I'll present on behalf of our finance director, Ms. Hines, is the nonprofit grant application for the ARPA allocation. Similar to how we did the small business grants, these are the dollars that were allocated by council for nonprofit grants. I believe that the original conversations, I wasn't a part of those, was again a $5,000 allocation up to $65,000, so a little less than what was designated for small business grants. However, we did only allocate $55,000 of the dollars that were originally allocated for small business grants at the time. So this draft application, I will say that it is, the questions are a bit more in depth than what we asked for our businesses. And the reason for that is that we are opening this to any nonprofit that serves Buckley residents, not necessarily just those that are located within city limits. So in order for us to have more criteria to make sure that the dollars are being spent in Buckley, we did ask a few more detailed questions. My recommendation would be to issue this, do another first come, first serve based off of those who apply. We expel the dollars, and then we'll come back to council with a report, assuming that you are comfortable with all of the questions that we have proposed and the terms. So they would have to be located, or they would have to have opened prior to COVID. The $5,000 should be spent in the city of Buckley, and they have to demonstrate that they have supported the city of Buckley and city of Buckley residents.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, concerns about that? Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds like a go.
And then my last thing is, we mentioned a second study session just for the council schedule. We do have quite a few things on the agenda for April 4th. None of them are time critical. So if we wanted to dedicate that study session to pickleball and then maybe have a second study session on April 18th, we could move the items that we had planned to present on the 4th to the 18th. That's one option if you're wanting to do a special study session for pickleball specifically, or we could just add this to the study session and see how far we get in the calendar.
Kenny.
When are we voting on the pickleball?
We have our first tentative action. So we'll have a draft MOU for you at your next meeting, and you could in theory take action at that meeting, or April 11th is the next time. The reason that they've asked that we look to approve this as soon as we can, or to make a decision, is because I believe that there's some grant funds that are available that are closing in spring. So that's the history that I have. We have a lot of answers that we're to the questions that were asked tonight, and we'll definitely share that at the next council meeting, but warranting another study session and then coming back on the 11th potentially. But ultimately, from my perspective, it's up to this group at any time if they decide to rescind their gift or not prior to the MOU. So you can take as much time as you want. I just don't know how long it'll take for them to get the funding and construct the building. That's a question for the nonprofit directly.
Brandon.
These grants they're trying to get or looking at getting if we entered an MOU, are they like just a one-time grant, like they'll never happen again, or is this more of an annual type thing, or?
From my understanding, they're leftover stadium dollars. And so the state overtaxed Washington residents, and for stadiums specifically, there is funding available and is to allocate all of those dollars this year.
Okay. Oh, here.
There you go.
So my question would be then, if we would be getting a draft MOU at our next council meeting, we wouldn't have any time to discuss anything that's happened that's been shared tonight, or getting any updates on like financial stuff, all the things that were brought up about concerns, because we wouldn't have a study session next week. I don't know I don't know what I can say. I'm just not comfortable with getting an MOU right then and there when we haven't had a chance to really like discuss anything. That's all. The April one, sure, after we've had, I don't know.
So I think the draft MOU will answer some of the questions about what the next steps would look like if they were to gift the facility. So you go into it with an open mind. You do not have to take action next week if you don't want to. So it'll just be another document for you to review and then ask questions about at the study session if we choose to have that dedicated or just add it to the agenda on the 4th. Again, you can take action at any time or choose not to take action. That is completely still an option. And the funds that are available, we don't know exactly what the grant funds that they're going after. The one that they've specifically mentioned are those stadium dollars, which is open only this spring.
And we don't know the deadline of that application. Okay, all right. Okay.
So I'll add this for the 4th.
Yeah, so is that kind of a bobblehead? We want to do a study session the 4th following the next town hall? Yeah, let's do that. It's obviously a hot topic.
Sounds good.
Okay. And public comments, who's still left? Martha, come on. Okay. Oh, Dave, come on up. Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. My name is Dave Morrell. I'm your Pierce County Council person for District 1. And all I can say about pickleball, they are a fierce group of people. I have watched games just go crazy. And I have the Holly in my district, Trilogy. And they have a league out there that's very active, and it's a great sport. I'm not going to knock that, but yeah, just don't get in between them and their pickleball. But there again, obviously, a lot of work needs to be done to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for Buckley, and it will pay off financially. I'm going to leave that in your hands. It's not why I'm here. I just wanted to inform you, and I've talked to Councilmember Green about this, the county is looking at implementing a 0.1% sales tax increase for affordable housing. That will happen supposed to happen next week. I'm not sure it will. But by the 28th of this month, there will be a vote on that tax increase. Tax increase will hit every jurisdiction in Pierce County except for the city of Tacoma. City of Tacoma already has the tax. So it'll include cities and unincorporated areas with that increase. So just a heads up on that. So that's coming. I talked to Councilmember Green. Heather Moss from the Human Service Department is presenting Thursday night at the Pierce County Regional Council meeting at 6 o'clock. So she will do a presentation there, but just wanted to give everyone the heads up on that. The other thing that we are moving forward with, and I appreciate Courtney bringing up, we are expanding Pierce County's economic innovation grant program to small cities. Currently, it's for unincorporated areas, and a lot of the agritourism around Pierce County is taking advantage of it to buy equipment for their operations. It'll be a matching grant. If you, and this would be open to all businesses in Buckley if it happens. If you want to replace your espresso machine, let's say, we will match up to $20,000.
Time's up. Just kidding.
I'm gonna take my money and go. It will match up to $20,000. So if you want to do an $80,000 expansion of your business, we will pay up to $40,000. Excuse me, $20,000 for that expansion. If you're only want to spend 10,000, we will match 5,000. So it's kind of a 2-to-1 ratio. That should pass the end of this month on the 28th. It was moved out of committee today. And it's for towns at 8,000 in population and less. So
So unincorporated and small cities.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we're opening it up to small cities now.
Perfect. Okay.
So hopefully that'll happen, and then we can get some applications from Buckley, South Prairie, Wilkerson, Carbonado.
Yep.
To apply for those grants, and those are ARPA money. So they're straight out grants, they're not loans. So that will be happening, final, I think is the 28th of this month for that program. So
Fair enough.
other than that, I'm not gonna be David Downer and talk about pickleball anymore or taxes, so. Anyway, I appreciate the opportunities to listen. This is the third council meeting I attended tonight, so anyway, definitely the most lively. So, thank you.
Yep. Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Dave. Appreciate it. All right. I might entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks, council. 2 hours, just, we didn't make it,